Greetings everybody and welcome to Madrid Ball. I hope you all are doing good, and today in this video we will talk about multiple topics ahead of the match against Villareal. There is news on Sergio Ramos and many players who have made the return to training which we all were looking forward to, but we also have some major missings in the squad list which will be providing a big selection dilemma to Zidane. In the video, we will also touch upon the recent interview of Dani Carvajal. We have a lot to discuss. It may be a bit longer video than usual. So one by one, let's start discussing the topics. Coming to the big news about our captain Sergio Ramos. Ramos has dominated the news in the past few days, firstly due to his contract situation and secondly due to the recent injury that he picked up against Germany. Talking more about the contract situation, we had heard earlier that Ramos had received an offer from PSG and PSG were willing to offer Ramos a very lucrative contract to get his services. And this news got a lot of attention, but as the hours passed by, we were looking for the response from someone related to Real Madrid, and it's the father of Sergio Ramos, Jose Ramos, who had come out to put out the fire, and he went on to say that he was completely sure that Sergio Ramos was going to renew his contract with Real Madrid, and he had no doubt about it. Then we also had a very respectable French press outlet, La Parisienne, and Spanish Mundo Deportivo going on with the story that PSG are more focused on balancing the books rather than signing Sergio Ramos, as the club expects a loss of 120 million. The latest about the contract situation has come from the newspaper outlet Cadena Ser, who went on to say that Real Madrid and Sergio Ramos have reached an agreement in principle for what will be a 2-year contract extension for the Spanish defender. Now, if the reports do come out to be true, we will have the strong figure of Sergio Ramos heading our defense for another 2 years, and that is fantastic news. But coming now to the more immediate concern related to Sergio Ramos, Marca, as you can see here, went with Sergio Ramos on their cover. We have confirmed reports on the extent of his injury. We had earlier in the previous video speculated that Ramos may be out for 2 weeks. And now Real Madrid in the club's official statement have said, and I quote, "After the tests carried out on our player Sergio Ramos by Real Madrid Medical Services, he was diagnosed with an injury to the bicep femoris in his right leg." In short, they have confirmed the hamstring injury, and this means he will definitely miss the big matches against Villareal and Inter Milan, and the people at the club are hopeful that Sergio Ramos will return against Shakhtar Donetsk on 1st December. Now that is very concerning and good news at the same time. The good news is that it is not a very serious injury and we will see Sergio Ramos return to action very soon. But the concerning part is that Sergio Ramos may possibly miss 2 very important games in the Champions League. First against Inter, and then there is a slight possibility that he may miss the game against Shakhtar as well. And we all know how high and mighty we have been flying with our defense in the Champions League this season. Moving on to the recent interview that Dani Carvajal gave to Marca, in which he spoke about his injury and the club's slow start to the season. So let's just touch upon a few topics that he spoke about in the interview. Carvajal was first asked how he was recovering from his injury, and he replied by saying, "I am doing much better. My entire internal ligament broke. The estimated time of recovery earlier was 10 weeks and I'm doing quite well. I am doing ball work, I am doing more intense training, and hopefully now after the international break, I will be available for the coach." The journalist then asked Carvajal how he felt being sidelined when the team was not doing well, to which Carvajal said, "When you're out, you suffer tenfold, because in the end you can't do anything to help the team and it's unnerving. Even more so when you're in the moment of tension like we are right now. Every game is like a final. There are 38 games, but all you can do is try to add 3 points every match. The teams don't forgive." Now that is quite well assessed by Carvajal. Teams certainly have not been forgiving in the recent past, as Real Madrid have lost 2 of the last 5, and currently Real Madrid sit 4 points off the league leaders Real Sociedad, keeping in mind that Real Madrid do have a game in hand. The next 2 questions that were asked were regarding the lack of consistency of Real Madrid, and Carvajal had some very interesting words to say. He said, "Every coach and team seeks to build a positive consistency, but it's not easy." Carvajal continued, "Injuries arise. A team like Real Madrid has many internationals, and in October and November there are 3 more international matches than usual. There are trips, games, concentrations. You have almost no time to rest, but you have to get back into focus for the next game. Also this year, there hasn't been a preseason, and so it's difficult to maintain a consistency. There is both physical and mental fatigue. The concerns that Carvajal is speaking about here, we have touched upon these problems in the previous videos. And lastly, in the interview, Carvajal went to back Zinedine Zidane, who has been under massive pressure lately, and he said, "We are with the coach, the club and the teammates beside us until the death. The coach's philosophy is for us to be together, to ensure that we all go in the same direction in the same manner we have been in the years he's been here. But it's complicated. We play in the Champions League, for example, after the break. We have to travel to Italy, then Ukraine, then Seville. These are very demanding matches, and they are coming every 3 days. It's difficult to win everything. Teams that don't play in Europe have a whole week to prepare for the match. They can rest and better analyze their rivals." So we can see that is a very realistic interview that Carvajal has given to Marca, in which he has highlighted a number of concerns. And it's quite true that the situation currently are not in the favor of Real Madrid, as we have not had the luxury to field our starting 11 on a regular basis, and that does affect the gameplay of teams. Moving on, we must now focus on the match against Villareal. Our opponents are currently sitting second in the table with 18 points from 9 matches. And if we have a look at the form in the league, they have managed 3 wins and 2 draws in the last 5 matches. Last season, Villareal had finished 5th in the league, but this season under Unai Emery, they are showing they are more than capable of breaking into the top 4. And we as Real Madrid fans, we will be keeping an eye on our Japanese sensation, Takefusa Kubo, who lately has been playing very well for the Yellow Submarine. Villareal have also utilized the summer transfer window very well and have made some good additions to strengthen the squad. They have done well to get Dani Parejo and Francis Coquelin very cheaply this summer. In attack, they have Gerard Moreno and Paco Alcácer, who are clicking very well, and in defense, they have a solid centre-back in Pau Torres. Real Madrid are keeping track of the 23-year-old, if we are to believe the reports from AS. So Villareal do look like a very formidable team at the moment, and they do have the potential to upset the odds. Now talking about the news and updates coming from the Real Madrid camp ahead of the match against Villareal, and I'm afraid we are not getting positive news when it comes to our attacking department. Very recently, Marca broke out the news that Luka Jovic has tested positive for the COVID-19, and that must be absolutely frustrating for him. He was coming out of an international break in fine form. He had got 3 goals, 2 assists in 3 matches that he played for Serbia, and finally something was going right for Luka Jovic. There was also some optimism that he was going to start in the match against Villareal, considering that we were a bit unsure about how the injury of Benzema was evolving. And speaking about Benzema, there are reports that Benzema has not been part of the final training session ahead of the match against Villareal. And if we have a look at the squad list for the match against Villareal, we see here that Benzema has been excluded. So that leaves only Mariano, fit and available for Zidane to start in the number 9 role. But Zidane thankfully does have Eden Hazard, Vinicius, Rodrigo and Asensio at his disposal. Coming to the defensive side of our game, earlier in the week we had seen Militao and Casemiro train with the squad, but both have not trained with the squad in the last training session before the game, and hence they have been excluded from the squad. So in defense we can see Varane and Nacho as our centre-backs along with Ferland Mendy in the left-back position. In right-back, although Dani Carvajal has been included, I don't feel he will be pitted into the starting lineup coming off a very long injury layoff. It would be interesting to see how Real Madrid cope up without both Casemiro and Ramos. At this point, we can only hope that our defense will not be exposed very often. No doubt, it will be very tough. These conditions are not ideal. It's crazy how unexpected this season is turning out to be. You just don't know who will be sidelined at which point of time. It's very unpredictable at the moment, and these are very tough conditions that our players are going through. Never have we ever seen anything like this. And hopefully after this phase passes by, we never get to see such things again. I extend my best wishes to Luka Jovic and hope that he recovers from his virus as soon as possible. Lastly, today, ladies and gentlemen, I really don't know what formation or lineup Real Madrid will go with. It's very difficult to guess firstly which players Zidane will go with, and secondly what formation will he choose to go with. Hence, there will be no lineup and scoreline prediction prediction today. I am just hoping Real Madrid can go past this horrible phase with minimal damage, and let's hope we can churn out a good result against a very tough opponent. Let me know how you feel about the squad with so many players unavailable. How are you feeling ahead of our return to La Liga? Write in the comments below. I will be here for the post-match analysis of the Villareal vs Real Madrid game. Till then, take care, and as always, Hala Madrid.